The twin moons of Thara hung low over the scrapyard plains, casting silver shadows across mountains of discarded starship hulls and forgotten technology. Beneath skies that shimmered violet and gold, where atmospheric ionization painted auroras across perpetual twilight, a human knelt in oil-stained coveralls, his hands moving with practiced precision through alien circuitry that most of the galaxy considered beyond salvage. They called him worthless. The workshops of the capital refused him, the guilds dismissed his credentials, and the Tharan elite wouldn't let him touch their gleaming vessels. But on this night, beneath those ancient moons, his kindness would attract attention that would shake the foundations of an empire. Before we start, subscribe now so you don't miss more incredible stories like this one. Oh, and before we dive in, tell us in the comments, where are you watching this video from? We love hearing from you and always read every message. Marcus Webb had grown accustomed to the hum of rejection. 3 years on Thara, and the pattern never changed. The massive aliens, averaging 12 feet tall, with skin that ranged from deep azure to brilliant copper, their eyes luminous and multifaceted like living gemstones, looked through him as if he were transparent. His workshop occupied the forgotten edge of Kethara City, where the gleaming crystalline towers gave way to industrial decay. The capital rose behind him like a forest of light, each spire connected by flowing energy bridges that pulsed with bioluminescent transportation streams. Beautiful, exclusionary, perfect. The diagnostic scanner in his hand chirped softly. Then it screamed. Anomalous energy signature detected. Grid Sector 7, the dumping ground for military salvage, where nobody went after dark. The scanner showed thermal signatures, 2 of them, fading. Marcus grabbed his toolkit and ran into the darkness, his headlamp cutting through shadows cast by corroded hull sections that loomed like metal cliffs. Then he saw it. A Tharan military transport crumpled between debris piles, its bioluminescent panels flickering weakly. Trapped in the cargo hold were 2 Tharan females, young, maybe 7 feet tall, their violet skin traced with silver. Twins. "Please," one said, her voice melodic despite her terror. "My sister, the fuel cells are rupturing." Marcus climbed onto the wreckage, his scanner counting down. 5 minutes until explosion. "I'm going to get you out," he said. "Both of you." "You're human," she whispered. "You can't possibly watch me." But while the city behind him glowed with indifferent beauty, the fuel cells beneath the transport were counting down to an explosion that would paint the scrapyard in fire. The wreckage groaned as Marcus positioned his plasma cutter. Every surface was burning hot through his work gloves. 4 minutes. "My name is Cerilyn," the conscious sister said. "That's my twin, Velara. We shouldn't have been flying alone." "You can explain later," Marcus grunted, cutting through support struts. The physics were delicate. Remove the wrong piece and everything would collapse. This wasn't an accident. Someone had weakened the structure deliberately. "My leg is trapped too," Cerilyn's voice cracked. "I can't reach her." Marcus dropped into the cargo hold, landing beside Cerilyn in a pool of blue-green blood. 3 minutes. "You're insane," she whispered. "The fuel cells. So let's not waste time talking." He cut through the debris, pinning her leg. Then together they moved to Velara. The bulkhead crushing her was massive, tons of twisted metal supported by the collapsed structure above. Marcus pulled out a hydraulic jack, primitive technology by Tharan standards, but it worked. "When I say go," he said, pumping the handle, "you pull her out and run. Don't stop." The bulkhead lifted 6 inches. His scanner screamed. 30 seconds. "Go." Cerilyn dragged her sister through the torn hull. Marcus scrambled after them, running as the countdown hit 15 seconds. They weren't going to make it, so Marcus threw himself at the sisters, sending all 3 tumbling into a shallow depression. He covered them with his body, a pathetically inadequate shield. The fuel cells detonated. Heat and pressure rolled over them in a wave that turned night to day. Something struck Marcus's back, driving the air from his lungs. Pain exploded across his shoulders. Then silence. They were alive, all three of them. Emergency response teams materialized through the smoke, ignoring Marcus as they swept toward the sisters. "He saved us," Saralyn called out. "He pulled us from the wreckage." "Unlikely," a copper-skinned worker said. "Humans lack the capability. He was probably scavenging." Marcus turned to leave, each step agony. Tomorrow he'd still be the rejected human mechanic. "Wait." Velara was conscious now, her eyes locking onto him. "What's your name?" "Marcus Webb." "Marcus Webb. Thank you." As Marcus limped back to his workshop, he didn't see the imperial crest etched on both sisters' shoulders. Didn't know they were the Emperor's nieces, didn't know their transport had been sabotaged by court rivals. And he definitely didn't know that tomorrow everything would change. His scanner chirped. Unknown vessel approaching. Imperial signatures. Estimated arrival. Dawn. And just when everyone thought they would break, something was revealed that no one expected. Marcus woke to thunder that wasn't thunder. 6 Imperial warships descended through Valthara's violet sky, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight into cascading rainbows. The lead vessel settled over the scrapyard, and ceremonial transports detached like seeds from a flower, bearing the golden sunburst of the Imperial household. This couldn't be about him. The transports landed in a circle around his workshop. Honor guards emerged in ornate armor, carrying weapons that hummed with power. Then came the Emperor. Thaldrin the 18th stood 14 feet tall, his ocean blue skin traced with golden patterns that shifted in the light. His eyes glowed with inner fire, and he wore robes that flowed like liquid metal. Power radiated from him, not just authority, but something more fundamental. The Emperor walked directly to Marcus's doorway and stopped. "Marcus Webb." His voice resonated with harmonics that shook the air. "You saved my nieces." Not a question, a statement. "I helped 2 people who needed it," Marcus said carefully. "I didn't know who they were. I am aware." An honor guard held up a crystalline sphere showing holographic recordings. Marcus cutting through debris, dropping into the cargo hold, covering the sisters as the explosion rolled over them. "You risked your life for strangers," Thaldrin said. "You demonstrated skill our own rescue services failed to match. You showed courage that contradicts every assumption my people hold about humans. And you did this despite the fact that Valtharan society has treated you with contempt." Marcus said nothing. "Do you know what happened to my nieces?" the Emperor asked. "Do you understand why they were alone?" "Sabotage," Marcus said. "The support structures were weakened deliberately. Someone wanted them dead." Murmurs rippled through the assembled officials. "You determined this during a rescue under time pressure?" Thaldrin's eyes narrowed. The patterns were obvious once you knew what to look for. Valtharan engineering is elegant, but predictable. Whoever modified that transport understood your design philosophy well enough to make it look like structural failure. The Emperor turned to his entourage. "This human succeeded where our certified engineers would have failed. He saw what they would have missed. He saved lives they would have abandoned." He turned back to Marcus. "That is unacceptable. Not your actions, their failure, and mine, for building a society that valued credentials over competence, status over character." Thaldrin stepped closer. "Marcus Webb, I am going to make a decision that will shock my empire. Some will call it madness, others will call it inspiration, but I call it justice." The Emperor raised his hand. Every official, every warrior dropped to one knee. Marcus stood alone as the most powerful being in the sector performed a gesture of respect. It wasn't just knowledge, it was legacy. And suddenly, Silence fell across the crowd, heavy with the weight of history about to turn. Thaldrun withdrew a medallion from his robes, metal that contained captured starlight suspended on crystalline threads. The imperial crest gleamed upon it. "This is the Star of Valor," he said. "In 5,000 years, it has been awarded 43 times. Never to a non-Valtheran. You will be the first." "Your Majesty," an obsidian-skinned official stepped forward. "There are protocols regarding..." "Protocols?" Thaldrun's voice cut like steel. "My nieces lay dying while protocols were observed, while certified teams considered whether responding was worth their time." "Your Majesty," a military commander spoke. "The Star comes with privileges, rights of audience, access to imperial facilities. These have always been reserved for those who understand our culture." "Our prejudices," Thaldrun interrupted. "Say what you mean, Commander Verath. You believe Marcus Webb is too alien to be honored by our empire, despite exemplifying our highest values better than any of us." The commander's eyes glittered with anger or shame. "The Star of Valor is only the beginning," Thaldrun continued. "I am granting you full imperial credentials as a master engineer, direct certification that supersedes all guild authority, and I am appointing you technical advisor to the Imperial Court with access to our most advanced facilities. You will help us investigate the sabotage and rebuild an engineering culture that has grown complacent." "This is madness," someone muttered. "This is evolution," Thaldrun corrected. "For too long we have measured worth by size, by species, by arbitrary standards. Marcus Webb shattered every assumption about humans in a single night. How many other beings have we dismissed?" The Emperor placed the medallion around Marcus's neck. The metal was warm, alive, and as it settled, Marcus felt something shift, a connection forming. "You are now a recognized hero of the Valtharan Empire," Thaldrun said, "and you have my eternal gratitude." "I don't know what to say." Marcus's voice came out rough. "Say you'll accept. Say you'll help us become better. My empire needs people who see beings in distress and help without calculating cost or weighing status. We've lost that. Somewhere in our climb to the stars, we forgot why we climbed." Marcus looked around at shocked faces, some showing respect, others barely concealed fury. "I accept." Thaldrun smiled. "Good. Now let me introduce you to someone eager to see you." The honor guard parted. Saralyn and Velara stepped through, moving carefully but alive. Both wore formal imperial attire, incorporating medical support structures. Saralyn dropped to one knee before Marcus. Velara followed. "We owe you our lives," Saralyn said. "We owe you everything." "You owe me nothing. Anyone would have..." "No," Velara interrupted gently. "That's exactly the problem. Nobody did, for hours. You were the only one." Crystalline tears caught the light in her multifaceted eyes. "The recording I made, I've watched it 40 times. You're brilliant, Marcus. And kind. That combination is rarer than you know." "We requested this," Saralyn added. "Uncle's decision to honor you. We convinced him. Because the galaxy needs to know that worth isn't measured in height or species. It's measured in action and courage." "What do I do now?" Marcus asked quietly. "Now," Thaldrun said, "you come with us. We have a saboteur to find and an empire to remind of its founding principles." His expression hardened. "Someone tried to murder my nieces using methods that bypassed our security. They understood our technology well enough to make sabotage look like accident. They're still out there, still dangerous." He looked directly at Marcus. "But they didn't account for you. They didn't imagine a human mechanic would see what they did, would understand their methods. You're going to help me find them." But the final blow came not from words. It came from a name the galaxy had long forgotten and a conspiracy that ran deeper than anyone imagined. The Imperial Palace floated above Cathara City like a second sun, its crystalline spires reaching toward the stars. Marcus stood in the Hall of Stars, where the ceiling displayed real-time images from telescopes across the Empire. Countless solar systems wheeled overhead. The court members were a sea of splendor, Viltharans wearing garments representing their houses and functions, and every eye fixed on Marcus as he entered beside the Emperor. The court recognizes Marcus Webb, a herald announced, hero of the Empire, bearer of the Star of Valor, technical advisor to His Imperial Majesty. The silence carried crushing weight. "This is unconscionable." Lord Crethus stepped forward, his azure skin bearing complex patterns. "Your Majesty, no one questions this human's bravery, but to elevate him so far, so fast, is exactly what I intended," Thaldrin interrupted. "Your objection is noted and rejected." "The precedent," Crethus pressed. "Our entire social structure is based on earned credentials, proving oneself through years." "Tell me, Lord Crethus." Thaldrin leaned forward. "How long did it take the Mechanics Guild to respond to my niece's distress beacon?" Silence. 3 hours. 3 hours from activation until the first certified team arrived, by which time the transport had exploded and my nieces would have been dead, had Marcus Webb not acted. "The procedures require verification, risk assessment," Crethus began. "The procedures nearly got my nieces killed." Thaldrin's voice cracked like a whip, while Marcus Webb, who by your standards should have been incapable, saved them both. That suggests our standards are broken, Lord Crethus. Badly broken. A silver-skinned scholar emerged from the crowd. "Your Majesty, perhaps we should examine how this human succeeded where we expected failure. Not as criticism, but as learning." "An excellent question, Director Solana." Thaldrin gestured to Marcus. "Perhaps our technical advisor would explain." Marcus felt his mouth go dry, but then he saw Cerilyn and Velara nodding encouragement. He thought about the rejection letters, the condescending dismissals, the certainty that he would never be good enough. And he thought about 2 people dying in the dark, while everyone with proper credentials did nothing. "The sabotage was elegant," Marcus said, his voice gaining strength. "Your structural philosophy emphasizes redundancy. The saboteur targeted not the supports, but the connection points between redundant systems. When the first support failed, the backup tried to engage, but the connection points were weakened. Cascade failure." He displayed a holographic analysis from his device. "A normal inspection would test each system independently. They'd all pass. But under combined stress, like a crash, they'd fail together. Brilliant and nearly undetectable." "Nearly," Thaldrin said. "But you detected it." "Because I looked at the failure pattern instead of the individual components. I saw the story the wreckage told." "And who," the Emperor asked the assembled court, "has the expertise to create such sabotage?" "Someone with master engineer credentials," Marcus said quietly. "Someone who helped design these transports. Someone in this room." The hall erupted in shocked voices. "Silence," Thaldrin commanded. "Marcus Webb has given us our first real lead. Now we investigate. Now we find who dared strike at the Imperial family." He stood, and the court fell silent. This human saw what we missed, saved who we abandoned, understood what we thought beyond him. Let that be a lesson to every being here. Competence knows no species, courage needs no certification, and worth is measured in action, not appearance. And as they walked from that hall, no one dared laugh again, for they finally understood what they had witnessed. 3 days later, Marcus stood in the Imperial Engineering Archives, surrounded by crystalline data matrices that held 5 millennia of technical documentation. Cerilyn and Velara worked beside him, their injuries healed enough to move freely. Here, Velara highlighted a section of code. Transport design specifications. Access logs show 17 master engineers reviewed this section in the past year. Cross-reference with those who had physical access to our transport, Saralyn added. Marcus filtered the data. 3 names remained. Lord Crethis, he said quietly, Commander Verath, and Director Silana. All opposed our uncle's reforms, Velara whispered. All stood to lose power if he succeeded in opening society to outsiders. But which one has the technical knowledge? Saralyn asked. Marcus pulled up personnel files. Crethis was an administrator. Verath was military, focused on tactics. But Silana, she was a transport designer, Marcus said. 20 years ago, before moving to the Science Directorate, she helped create the redundancy systems. We need proof, Velara said. Accusations against a director require evidence. Marcus thought about the wreckage, about the precise way the supports had been weakened. The sabotage required access to your transport's maintenance bay. That requires security clearance and leaves logs. They searched, found nothing. Unless, Marcus said slowly, someone used remote access. The transport systems can be updated wirelessly for emergency patches if someone had the authentication codes. He dove deeper into the data, found it, a wireless update to the transport structural monitoring systems uploaded 3 days before the crash. The update came from a Science Directorate terminal. It's still circumstantial, Saralyn said. She could claim someone stole her credentials. But look at the code itself. Marcus highlighted sections. See this error-checking bypass? This specific approach to force calculations. I've seen this signature before in published papers. It's distinctively hers. They brought their findings to Thaldran. The Emperor reviewed the evidence in silence, his glowing eyes reflecting the data streams. Summon Director Silana, he said finally. She arrived calm and composed, her silver skin unmarked by concern. Your Majesty requested my presence. Tell me about the wireless update you sent to my niece's transport, Thaldran said, a flicker in her eyes. Just a flicker. I sent no such update, Your Majesty. If the logs show otherwise, someone has obviously compromised my credentials. Interesting, Marcus said, because the update includes code that matches your published research exactly, including an error-checking method you pioneered. Many engineers study my work, Silana said smoothly. True, Marcus agreed, but this particular method has a flaw you discovered and corrected in your later papers. This code uses the old, flawed version. The version only you would remember implementing before you published the correction. Silence stretched through the chamber. Why? Velara asked, pain in her voice. Why try to kill us? Silana's composure cracked. Because you represent everything wrong with his reforms, she gestured to Thaldran. Opening our society to outsiders, diminishing the value of our achievements, making us equal to species that should be beneath us. Your deaths would have ended his soft sentiments. Instead, Thaldran said quietly, you proved exactly why those reforms are necessary. Your credentials, your status, your position, none of it made you worthy. Marcus Webb, with nothing but courage and skill, showed more honor than you ever possessed. He gestured to the honor guard. Take her. She will face trial for treason and attempted murder. As Silana was led away, Thaldran turned to Marcus. You did well. Your approach, your thinking, you taught us to see differently. That is perhaps a greater gift than saving my nieces, though I treasure both. What happens now? Marcus asked. Now, the Emperor smiled. We rebuild. Together. And as the investigation closed, Marcus understood that he hadn't just solved a crime. He'd helped shift the foundations of an empire. 6 months later, Marcus stood in what had once been his forgotten workshop. Now it housed the Imperial Academy of Engineering, a new institution where students were judged by skill rather than species, where credentials meant less than capability. The enrollment was staggering. Humans, yes, but also dozens of other species the Valthurans had dismissed. All working together, learning together, building together. Cerilyn and Velara taught classes on structural design, using their own sabotage transport as a case study. The lessons were simple but profound. Question assumptions, look for patterns, remember that the best engineering serves beings, not status. Thaldrun visited often, walking among students who once would never have been allowed near Valthuran technology. He'd made his empire uncomfortable, had challenged 5,000 years of tradition, but he'd also made it better. Marcus found the Emperor on the workshop's observation deck one evening, watching twin moons rise over a city that glowed with new possibility. "Do you regret it?" Thaldrun asked. "Your quiet life is gone. You're famous now, controversial, a symbol of change some resent." "No," Marcus said. "I regret the years I spent thinking I wasn't good enough because others couldn't see past my species. I regret not believing in myself. But this is exactly where I'm supposed to be." "Good," the Emperor smiled. "Because my empire needs you. Not just your skills, but your perspective. You see beings where we saw categories. You solve problems where we saw impossibilities." He turned to face Marcus directly. "You saved my nieces, but in doing so you also saved my empire from its own arrogance. That debt can never be repaid." "You don't owe me anything," Marcus said. "You gave me what I always wanted, a chance to prove myself. Everything else is just me trying to be worthy of that chance." Below them, students from a dozen worlds worked together under twilight skies. Their laughter and excited conversations rose like music. Somewhere in that crowd, another Marcus Webb was learning that their species didn't define their ceiling, that courage and competence could overcome any prejudice. "In a universe built on arrogance," Thaldrun said softly, "sometimes a single act of dignity is enough to shift the stars themselves. You taught us that, Marcus Webb, and the galaxy is better for it." As the twin moons climbed higher, painting the scrapyard turned academy in silver light, Marcus thought about the night that changed everything. About 2 people dying in the dark. About choosing to help when walking away would have been easier. He'd been nobody, a rejected human mechanic with Earth credentials that meant nothing. Now he was a symbol of what the galaxy could become when it measured beings by their actions rather than their origins. And that, Marcus thought, was worth every rejection he'd ever faced. The stars wheeled overhead, countless and brilliant, and for the first time since arriving on Valthara, Marcus Webb felt like he was finally home. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness echoes across eternity. Sometimes, the most unlikely hero changes everything. And sometimes the galaxy just needed someone brave enough to see beings instead of species and to act when no one else would.